The Science of Mind magazine, the Daily Guides. Today's reading is entitled, as it's written down there, Where I Am God Is. Where I Am God Is. And first quote's from Howard Thurman, who was a well-known figure in the 20th century. If you don't know about him, look him up. Very interesting character. Thurman. There must always remain in every life some place for the singing of angels, some place for that which is in itself breathless and beautiful. And Ernest Holmes says, divine perfection is already within us, being forever perfect and complete. We need no reunion with God, because God already is in every act, every thought, every movement. I said that was Ernest Holmes. What I would say about that is what Ernest Holmes is really saying to me here. And remember, everybody has got their own interpretation of pretty well everything. I guess some people could even argue about 2 + 2 is 4, but on a serious note, everybody has their own interpretation about lots of things, including this. And to me, what that means is this, that since God is in and through and has everything, nothing can ever be separated from God. But the idea that we're separated from God can exist. So we can forget that we're connected to God, or maybe learn for the first time. And that is in itself a kind of reunion, because you're remembering again, you're joining again, but you're joining in your mind, because that's what you suddenly realize again. So physical, actual separation, no, it's impossible. Acknowledgement of separation, belief in separation, that can exist. And therefore, when you come back to realize that wasn't true, well, to me, that's a reunion. That is my little take on what Ernest Holmes said. However, what does our writer Mary say this month? She says, as spiritual seekers, we have something profound in common. We are in search of a personal relationship with a divine source, with the universe, with all that is. We are adventurers on the spiritual path, soaking in the many ways that Ernest Holmes and other wisdom teachers throughout the ages have shared their direct experiences with the divine. I do have some comments on this. I don't disagree with it, by the way, but I have some comments on it. Through the years, I've had some wild rides on my journey of divine discoveries. My latest meditation adventures are heart-pounding trips through the universe. I fly, I sway my float, I spin, whispering, where are you, God? I view the earth and planets from space, and when my spirit is courageous, I traverse to far-off fields of deep silence, vortexes of black that swallow me up in peace. Sometimes I catch a ray of God's sun, and I am inhabited by pure love. And still, where are you, God? In a poem called The Boat of My Zeal, Indian teacher Paramahansa Yogananda spins a story of his pursuit of God. God eludes him until at last he breaks his silence as God and says, all I am. Wherefore do you pursue me in vain? I was always with you and in you, in your pursuing and in all the places you pursued me. And then she goes on to say, perhaps one purpose we all share is to come into this world with amnesia. We search the whole universe over, only to discover that the unfathomable divine we seek is hiding right here within us and in all of creation. This is really a lesson about oneness, seeking oneness, acknowledging oneness. You know, I looked up, I thought, well, she started off by saying we're all spiritual seekers. So I thought, well, I'll see what Chat GPT has to say about spirituality. And it came up with a bunch of stuff. It mentioned connection, meaning and purpose, transcendence, values and practice, personal versus organized. And then I thought this at the end was pretty good. A simple way to put it: religion is often about belonging, while spirituality is about becoming. Wherever it got that from, I think that is pretty cute, actually. So, anyway. So I think between my comments on this, her message, and the rest of it, I think it's pretty clear. I don't know about the rest of you, but I am a seeker on the journey. I have at times forgotten my oneness with the divine, but then again, I've come back and remembered it. I've had times in my life where I believed the divine was out there and I and the rest of creation was here, until I followed the mystics, and then I learned in New Thought, which is a mystical experience, that the divine is everywhere. It's in and through us, everything. And I could never, ever be lost, because I could never be separate from that which is in and through everything. So that's my personal experience. It's the experience of the mystics throughout the ages, all the deep seekers. So, but I love that quote that wherever ChatGPT dragged it up from, I don't know. Religion is often about belonging, while spirituality is about becoming. I think I love it. I love that quote. Anyway, what are our affirmations for the day? I see the divine within me and within all things great and small. Right where I am is where God is. Right where I am is where God is. And I think that should suffice. Or if you on the first one, I see the divine within me and in all things great and small. So take your pick. So that's my thought for the day. I do believe my colleague, I didn't check actually on Facebook, on Creative My Spiritual Center's Facebook page to see if Danielle Johnson had done her meditation for the day. However, I do know that Reverend Lisa will be on tomorrow morning at 9:15, and I got to go look afterwards and see if Danielle did her meditation. Hey, meditation is good. However much you do, however little you do, it doesn't matter. It's good. It's good to take a break from everyday life for a short while. And I'll be honest, sometimes I will go in our sauna, because these days, things like my watch and everything, my phone, they're pretty able to take up to 130 degrees Fahrenheit heat. And I'll meditate in the sauna. I am going to do shortly. I'm going to go in the sauna. And when I'm in there, I'll meditate. So how about that? So until next time, namaste.